so that they can see the heat forms, so they know which rooms people are in, and they can pick up the sound, so they're aerial voyeurs. They can monitor the whole society. And that movie began with the statement on the screen that all the technology shown in this movie exists and is in use in the United States today. So, as one of the characters in Illuminatus says, there's never been a people better watched and protected than the American people of today. Gives you a nice, cheerful feeling about our society, doesn't it? That's to protect us against the bad people. You don't think they're going to use it against us, do you?
No. Bad people, hopefully they'll use it against us.
Well, my attitude is to always make sure my passport is up to date and hasn't expired. If it expires, get it renewed right away. And I have a lot of friends in Canada, and they even have some in Mexico, so I'm ready to make an escape if things here get as bad here as they look like they're getting. The latest issue of Urine Nation, which is a journal put out by a friend of mine in Atlanta, report on the progress of the government's prying into the bladders of the citizens. It comes out every month, and the latest issue, some corporations are going beyond the government guidelines. These two corporations are testing the urine for nicotine now. They're not satisfied to tell you can't smoke on company time. They're firing people who smoke cigarettes on their own time in their own homes, just like pot smokers. The idea is what you do in the privacy of your living room is still their business. I applied for a job at IBM once when I was very young, and they told me they had a rule that you couldn't have a drink at lunch, which a lot of companies are that stuffy, but they also said you couldn't have a drink after work within 20 blocks of the office. And I thought, Jesus Christ, who wants to work for a totalitarian organization like that? But now this guy's rule is that you can't smoke even in your own home after you get off work in the evening. And it started out as a hunt for coke users and pot smokers, and now some corporations are extending it to cigarette smokers and people who show alcohol in the urine. And of course, there's no urine test for acid, for LSD. So the trajectory is that in the next 10, 15 years, the top levels of the corporations will be full of acid heads. So that's a cheerful thing to look forward to. They're the only ones who can survive these tests. Acid just doesn't show up on any of the tests right now. The error rate on all these tests is fantastically high, too. Every time they've been checked, the error rate is fantastic, but you can still get fired and deprived of your livelihood. And they're seizing, there was a captain in Alaska who they found, boy, my grammar is really slipping the second hour, who they found. One of his people had, there was a captain of a ship, and the narcs found one sailor on the ship had one marijuana joint in his pocket. So they seized the ship. They charged the captain with smuggling. They had to drop the charges eventually, but he didn't get his ship back because the ship was being used to convey marijuana, which means that everybody who has a fishing ship now has to search every goddamn sailor on the ship, or the narcs might seize their ship from them. This guy's been put out, he lost his livelihood, his means of earning a living, and these things are getting worse and worse every month, and the majority seems to like it. That's what's really frightening. You got to look at the old German propaganda films from the 30s to see a similar situation where civil liberties are systematically being destroyed and the public is yelling, "Hooray, hooray, this is what we want." It's happening. I know what those are.